Hey guys, I'm a left-leaning individual calling out other left-leaning individual for doing what only left-leaning individuals slightly right of furthest left would do. Here's my long-winded explanation as to why left-leaning individual is cringe and backward and chopped and could never achieve my same level of nuance sufficiently under/overcritical purity. I exist in the non-liminal hyper-subliminal space between spiteful and murderous and spend 17 bedridden hours a day moping and squealing as Twitter Blue Sky Threads notifications creep hourly across my flesh-questioning For You page. If only everyone around me was also me but also kinda different, i.e. perfect, knowledgeable, infinitely rational, unrealistic, and feasible actor, we'd finally see some change? Go figure. What a beautiful, impossible, unreachable ideal. Guess that means it's all over and hopeless and terrible and unsalvageable. Go burn it all down. See, the thing about me is that I only fight people who wouldn't dare ignore me. The loud, purity test, piss, leftist ecosystem, food pyramid scheming above me, till fat-phobic arrow aces gluttonously devour my definitely invisible stretch marks, rendering me no longer uncancelable. Oh my god, fellow strong, moral, strongly against oral YouTuber, please acknowledge the subtle, unforgivable ways your words implied horrifying things about one Destiel very real rivalry. Oh my god, both semi-nuanced sides of actual decades-long conflict. Have you considered, hugging it out? Maybe kissing? That'd be hot. No, since of course the other side is genetically unilaterally superior, inferior, controlling the weather coming up through the floorboards. It's all really true and beautiful and hidden, but no one would tell you. You just have to do your own unbiased, unfunded, unverified research. And I get it. I sound like stupid conspiracy theorists, but honestly, guys, it's because it's all true. We unbiased defenders of unbiased knowledge spaces are unbiasedly identifying reality, deciding who the biased bigots are, determining through careful, precise, obvious reasoning where the fake and prejudicial media and loud, unapologetic mouthpieces who keep messing up for everyone the pristine, very real yet unrealized, broad, impactful coalition keep originating. The drainage ditches those basement-dwelling nobodies with platforms like mine keep violently basilisking their rocos from. Just pisses me off, man. How so many people are crazy and ignorant and can't tell right my side, depicted fortunately as strong, alpha, semi-rational being from wrong, disagreeers, not pictured. But hey, I know, or maybe cynically, secretly fail to believe, they'll learn eventually. Someday we'll all finally rise up and fight back against the patriarchy, matriarchy, neatly expatriatized to our own Polynesian territory, probably out of earshot and sinking kind of fast. Someday we'll have a world where men can not only academically, but like casually in conversation have periods. And in the meantime, they'll ban both free bleeding and pads. I want to pull the ethical/just/equitable outcome for every person in the world from the centuries of theory I keep sorta studying on my laptop at quaint Himalayan tea place. But how could I actually achieve real results? Just kidding, I wouldn't even ask this question. Please ignore these words and forgive my lack of jump scare warning for sudden implication that hypercritical leftista could almost ever pragmatically connect ideas to action. Like I already suggested, while I'm screaming at sock for failure to comply with rule saying no hate watching Homestuck, while I'm pulling hair out by the follicles due to Kai removing me from support weasel time block scheduling group chat, the world and the people who actually decide what actually happens in it will go on without me. Every day I'll hear loud booming voices say loud scary things and I'll scroll past it or ignore it or hyperventilate when I think about it, but I honestly won't really do anything. I'll let them say what they want, do what they want, take everything from me because secretly it's what I want. I'd rather lose everything than be confrontational. Would rather eternally contemplate chronic pain than campaign communally. Would rather suffer forever than suffer temporarily. And they know I am internal, introspective, non-anti-fragile, hypercritical leftologist bleeding within, deteriorating every second, but I have this terrible feeling that we're all wrong about why. It's true that I suffer as a result of these systems burning irrationally around me, but it's also true that I'm choosing this. I am always choosing anything cognitively dissonant and endlessly monotonely existentially horrifying over the action-based death of who I was. Over maybe stopping this not actually inevitable decay. Over doing something focused and conversational and human in the real world right now. And I'll keep choosing anything but the action-based death of who I was till I die. But seriously, like always, I shouldn't be blamed, right? I mean, I'm not the problem. They are. They're the ones deciding to roll everything back, to reverse the clock, to institutionalize apathy. Not my fault. I am the blameless victim of a horrifying, unraveling world that's against me. But how can a blameless victim, a person with no free will, a cog-sucking, stuck in infinite phone-staring cycle have so much gooning, speedrunning, court-battling liberty? The free will of consumption playing out every day via white substance lines up the nose. How can everything I do be so intimately connected with what I want in the short term, but never what I want in the long term? How can I, a person so capable of getting what I want, be incapable of getting anyone else what they need? I think there's a problem with the concept of blame. Either that, or it's somehow my fault when someone else commits violent act in front of me and I smugly, analytically stand there doing nothing in shock, strongly condemning the horrible cruelty of the world. I keep sitting back, staring at the universal societal car crash, fully embodying that trendy summer bystander effect, saying, yeah, I kind of think the end is beginning, but like always and forever and continually though. So sure, fine, whatever, okay, I think. Maybe, who knows, we should form that tight-knit, well-meaning, non-right-leaning coalition. But let's circle back. I mean, honestly, given what I flagged here, is this really the right fit? I saw you liked that one robophobic, smooth-talking comedian's recent, technically implicitly if you think about it, harmful tweet or comment or ring doorbell message. Look, see the receipts. This proves it. I thought I knew you. Don't try to explain. Just move on. My bleeding, hypercritical heart can't take it. I don't think you're right for the role of prominent, charismatic coalition coordinator/director/left-leaning leader. Don't worry, though. We'll find find the most perfect, least problematic, most critically informed individual for the job. Meet Ember, a 40-something Portland suburb anti-racist cupcake bakist. No tweets, no biphobic, furphobic, vorphobic past, just posts about frosting and dogs and whatever. Aggressively relatable. I mean, just look at this. Finally, the mouthpiece for the movement, the one who will unite us all with love and kindness and just like all-around good, semi-rational vibes. On paper, it makes perfect sense. Promoted, mic'd, elevated to national debate stage. Oh no, what happened? No, you were amazing, Ember. Ignore the haters. This confusing, horrifying world wasn't ready for your excellently delivered masterclass in queer feminist critiquing masculinity. So what do we do now? What's the problem here? I know, it's our own checkered history. The dark money corrupting our own spineless left-leaning commentators. The promises unkept by people too weak and semi-rational to deny, deflect, distract. I love applying standards only to brittle, shiftless people who waffle and squirm in the spotlight, while also completely ignoring anyone who just keeps doing what they were doing and pragmatically decides to not care about my flimsy verbal unenforceable standards at all. Hey guys, look at this. Seems like 500 right-leaning assets are currently in our midst. Now watch as every hypercritical leftometrist ignores the next round of island-visiting billionaire tax break-funded tariff hike, non-vaccine mandate, abortion restriction, church and state mergers. And you know what? Last time we hypercritical left-leaning individuals did this, our leaders kinda listened. They sorta apologized. They said they kinda maybe learned from it. So how come they did it again? How could I ever trust a person who makes such obvious, unambiguous mistakes? How could I let a morally questionable person lead my morally unquestionable movement? Wait, time out. I mean, maybe I'm not really asking the right question here. Let's finally switch focus. How does the other side feel so blissfully happy with leaders that flamboyantly flaunt their pure moral decay, their complete disregard for every person and anything at all? Maybe it's just the other side doesn't care about any of this, sure. But maybe it's also that they sort of recognize the pragmatic ineffectiveness of tearing down your leaders every time they gain prominence. Maybe the other side knows that loud, flashy insanity, while irrational, is insanely effective at getting both message and policy across. Why do you think the language of rage bait and pure schizo-element irony is baked so fundamentally into its non-ideological, practical, action-based core? Whereas hypercritical left-leaning individuals are still playing catch-up, poetry slam snapping, of course, for the argument that irony and rage bait actually implicitly reinforce certain harmful systemic practices. It maybe turns out that it doesn't matter anymore whether your theory is right and rational and actually likely to result in better outcomes for people, because the language of irrationality is so much easier to access, so much easier to push via a unilateral billionaire-interested coalition to a nationwide audience of willing and active, unquestioning listeners. And maybe, if hypercritical leftards don't pragmatically wake up to the fact that hypercritical leftism has criticized itself into an impossible auto-cannibalistic corner, if they keep tearing down other leftagonists for unrelated, though probably valid, but still aggressively unrelated reasons, if they dilute the strength and universality of the billionaire's cringe idea with self-criticism, self-critique, and self-criticism, endless self-criticism forever, the billionaires and etc. will easily outspend, outspeak, and honestly outsmart them. It's not an intelligence thing, but a practical thing. The other side is unity, and leftoids keep fumbling it. The other side is power. Leftoids mostly don't. The other side mostly understands how to politically use framing and rhetoric and lying when necessary. Hypercritical leftoids are still considering whether framing or rhetoric or lying when necessary are moral and ideologically acceptable. The other side just has an unignorable advantage. Hypercritical leftoids don't seem to get that a certain amount of not caring about anything can actually be useful, at least at the political level, maybe not broadly or as a person in general. People who don't care about anything have less stopping them from in fact taking action to achieve the things they want to. So, maybe it's true. Maybe when one side isn't good to do the things it does and the other side isn't good to do the things it doesn't do, both sides just bad. But maybe when one side doesn't actually care about goodness or badness and keeps moving and pushing and destroying and pragmatically ignoring any dissent that would stop it from doing whatever it wants to at all times, regardless of what makes any sense at all. Hypercriticality is the impassable, impotent barrier saying actually none of that horrifying real-world destruction can be stopped or something, causing infinite, endless, meaningless debate about the exact perfect morally permissible channels for fixing whatever abstractly horrible thing is said to be going on. Maybe hypercriticality stops leaders from taking action because every action has to be vetted by a million people before it can be considered acceptable, whether or not those actions would actually have pragmatically stopped the stupid, pathetic things currently happening from happening. Hypercriticality might then become just as irrational as the irrational insanity pushed by the other side. It's just that the other side's leaders, not burdened by hypercriticality, also have the added benefit in the status quo of getting to do whatever they want forever. So, what's the so-called rational choice? Never criticizing? Criticizing everything? Maybe the answer, of course, is inevitably something in between. Maybe sometimes the immediate, visceral, instinctive "you're wrong" is harmful to your movement, your beliefs, your goals, because it's said in a landscape where being wrong only stops the empathetic ones from doing what they think is right and just and ideal. Fine. When non-urgently big picture considering how we can think about everything in our world, or when non-urgently normative philosophizing about how we can act as people, maybe we can comfortably keep thinking in this semi-rational, self-critical type way. But in this moment, when decisiveness is necessary for fully preventing decay, destruction, self-destruction decline. Maybe self-criticism only becomes a time-wasty, pearl-clutchy asset for the non-leftoid other side. And guess what? In making this video, I did the exact thing I implied was irrational, ineffective, etc. I became an other side asset criticizing empathetic leftoids. So now, as good leftoids would, please ignore everything said in this video and endlessly criticize me in the comments. If you liked whatever this was, please like, comment, subscribe so more leftagonally aligned and not aligned people will be horribly, uncharitably subjected to more connecty, brain-melty analysis like this. Also, watch my other videos and support me on Patreon if you want, because things will be happening on there like access to early and potentially exclusive videos and calls and whatever else. Anyway, agender, Z-gen, zero, cycling, ender, dragoners, go touch some grass or diluted subcritical mass. Bye.